Hello, everyone, and welcome to CelebReel, where we break down the biggest celebrity scandals, family drama, and unexpected twists shaking the entertainment world right now and today. This one is wild. Before we start, subscribe, like, and stay tuned. Big story ahead. We're diving into the chaos surrounding T.I., Tiny, and their son, King Harris. A story that just went from bad to catastrophic overnight. King Harris's world just crumbled even harder after Tiny officially hit T.I. with divorce paper, and the timing couldn't be more explosive. Sources say she finally snapped after T. I publicly disowned their son following his latest arrest.
All right, I need you to step out the vehicle.
What you want to do? You want to take my gun off my head?
Yes, sir.
There's one in the head.
Does your buddy have one as well?
What's the guns in here?
All right, just hang tight right here for me. Let me clear this. I don't want any accidental fires.
There's no safety. You gotta take it.
There's no safety.
Take
Okay.
it out.
Well, I'm not gonna mess around with that too much. Let me just set this down right here. Dude, step out for me. Yes, sir. Place your hands behind your back for me. All right, right now you're just being detained. You're not under arrest.
Are you straight?
I'm gonna be at the church. All right, I appreciate you being cool, man. We're just gonna take a look at this information, make sure it's valid.
I ain't sure this.
Just take a step to the side for me.
And now everything inside that family is collapsing fast. T.I. isn't even fighting the divorce. No statements, no pushback, no attempt to work things out, just silence. And that silence says everything.
Hitting me and giving me my comments, telling me what to tell King, okay? I know my son. Think I ain't spoke to my son? Think I ain't told my son, his mama, and his grandmamas? His ass going to prison. If you got to keep this up, his ass going to prison. Ain't no way around it. Ain't nothing I'm gonna be able to do about it. Can't nobody stop it but him. You know what I mean? I've already had that conversation. I've already made my peace with it. Because I know that energy. I was that energy. I know exactly how it's gonna turn out.
The household is split straight down the middle, accusations are flying, and everyone is trying to figure out who pushed this family to the breaking point. Fans are now asking, who's really to blame? The parents who gave King every luxury imaginable, or King himself for throwing all that privilege away just to chase a life he never needed.
To make him look better, he said it he know not true. Silver spoon, I ain't never ate with that day a day in my life.
Nigga, you did have a silver spoon.
Look, Tip used to have to come to my grandma's house, because I'm getting in the fight.
You cried like a baby to go to your grandmama's house.
Every day.
You used to hold your breath.
Every day.
I know you. I know you. I know you. I know you. I know you.
Shut up. Shut up.
I know you.
Ain't no
though.
mystery about here.
I know you though.
Man,
I know
get
you
your
though.
fat
Shut up.
I know you though. I know you. What's wrong with y'all? Why y'all doing that to me? Y'all know me. You know I stand on business.
T.I. and Tiny divorcing might shock the public, especially after surviving decades of scandals, cheating allegations, and breakups. But insiders say this split was building for years. And the breaking point?
A lot of people hit me up like, King, I know you tired. You ain't getting no sleep. And the truth be told, before this little I ain't been getting no sleep. You know what I'm saying? I just been outside working, lifestyle. You know, lifestyle just lifing. You know what I'm saying? And, but now I'm damn sure not getting no sleep. This up every morning, and then around the morning time, he like to do that little live concert I be doing with him. And, he like to walk around the house. So,
October 2024, when King's reckless arrest dragged their entire name through the mud. That night, King sped out of a gas station in his BMW and nearly slammed into a police cruiser. And the second those blue lights came on, everything spiraled. The smell of weed hit the officers before King even said a word.
Just became a father, so I got 2 grandchildren now.
Wow, congrats.
Yeah, I got 2 granddaughters. I got a grandson on the way.
Wow.
King's about to have a son.
King's about to have a son. Congrats.
Yeah. And I told him I'm gonna make this the greatest gangster of all times. I will raise this child to torture you the way you tortured me. I promise you, there will be an indictment in this young one.
And the minute they looked down and spotted a gun tucked in his waistband, the whole situation flipped from bad to disastrous in seconds. But the real shocker came when they ran his name through the system. Suddenly, an old 2022 warrant lit up the screen. Speeding, driving on a suspended license, and a DUI still sitting on his record. That was the moment everything imploded. This wasn't just a reckless night gone wrong. This was every old mistake roaring back to life. And it's exactly what's still tearing the Harris family apart today. From that moment on, the night spiraled. King could have walked away with a slap on the wrist if he'd played it smart.
I can treat yours.
Why y'all got so much time, bro? Why y'all always gotta have guns? What is it about the guns, man?
It's not illegal to have guns.
Well, in the manner in which you portraying in the lifestyle, the shit don't look legitimate, sir. Because I'm not supporting no more. I'm not. Can't do it. I'm not. What kind of parent gonna support their kids and they'll goddamn slide, popping?
But instead, every past screw-up hit him like a freight train. And once the arrest footage leaked online, the internet pounced instantly. People dragged him for hours, criticizing everything from his attitude to the life he was trying to pretend he lived. But here's the twist. In that 30-minute video, King wasn't acting wild. He wasn't yelling, puffing his chest, or trying to put on a show. When you look closely, you can see it.
You got a gun in your book there? So motherfucker 12 pull up and they say, hey, who do you belong to? Who raised their hand? Somebody got to raise their hand. I've been seeing him around too there a lot. You gonna raise your own hand? I've been seeing him around too. Huh? Well, when you got drugs, it ain't illegal.
I know that.
When y'all got drugs around those legal guns, that called it's not legal. Possession of a firearm and commission of a crime, sir. That is a felony.
Yeah.
Thank you. This shit ain't, hey man, this shit ain't free. This shit come out of court. I can't believe this shit, man. What happened to some motherfuckers? Why y'all don't make no motherfucking love music? You got girls right here. Why don't you talk about being in love, man? Why don't you talk about
This flicker of real regret in his eyes, like he finally understood he crossed a line he couldn't walk back from. For once, he sat still, quiet, almost humble, a version of King the public had never seen before. Even the arresting officer seemed taken aback by how calm he stayed during the whole thing. But it didn't matter. Calm or not, he still ended up cuffed, booked into DeKalb County Jail, and then transferred to Pickens County once the old warrant caught up with him. When the arrest video hit the internet, fans wasted zero time tearing King apart. One comment calling him a trust fund prison punk went viral in minutes because people thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. Another person jumped in saying he thinks his parents' millions make him street, but he's never struggled a day in his life. The dragging was non-stop, but here's where everything flipped. King wasn't the only one taking the heat. His crash-out moment didn't just put him behind bars, it detonated his entire household. The damage ricocheted straight into T.I. and Tiny's marriage, pushing long-existing cracks into a full-on collapse. T.I. tried to go online and act like the wounded, disappointed father, but Tiny? She was done, furious. And she didn't come empty-handed. In her divorce paperwork, she didn't hide behind polite wording. She put it all out there, calling King's downward spiral the final, unforgivable breaking point. And the wild part? T.I. didn't fight her. He didn't argue, didn't plead for another chance, didn't even try to spin his image. He basically washed his hands clean and made it clear he did what he could as a father. If King chose chaos, that was on King, not him. Cold, but not surprising. T.I. had been warning him for years. Back in 2022, when King first started popping up in viral videos doing reckless things for attention, T.I. publicly begged him to chill, telling him he wasn't built for the life he was chasing. T.I. warned King from the start, straight up telling him, "You're heading down a path you can't come back from. Keep this up and you're going to end up in jail." He even admitted he'd been urging Tiny and King's grandmother to keep a closer eye on him before things got out of control. And this wasn't just a lecture. T.I. had lived that life. He'd been locked up. He knew exactly how fast things could go left, and he didn't want his son repeating his mistakes. But Tiny wasn't buying that story. In the divorce filings, she flipped the entire narrative on him, accusing T.I. of failing as a father. She said if he had actually shown up, been present, and acted like a real parent instead of a celebrity dad, King wouldn't have spiraled this far. According to her, T.I. didn't guide him. He abandoned him emotionally. And honestly, Tiny wasn't lying about the timeline. T.I. was in and out of prison from the moment she found out she was pregnant with King. By the time he came home for good, King had already grown up without a father figure. And when T.I. was around, it barely made a difference. Allegedly, he kept sending King to live with his grandmother like he was passing responsibility to someone else. King himself even said it. Yeah, his parents had money, but he never felt it. He admitted he was raised by his grandma, not T.I. and Tiny. And the part that shocked fans the most? He revealed the only time he was allowed to stay in his parents' mansion was when the cameras were rolling for their reality show, as if his presence was just for TV, not for family. Imagine only being welcome at your own parents' house when the cameras were rolling. With a childhood like that, it's no surprise King went looking for validation anywhere he could find it. Even if that meant diving straight into trouble every chance he got. One moment that really showed how off the rails he was becoming was the infamous Waffle House meltdown in 2022. It started over something tiny. A worker messed up his order and put pickles on his food when he didn't ask for them. That's all it took for King to explode. He started screaming at the employee, pulled out his phone, filmed the whole mess, and blasted it online. But instead of looking tough, he looked like a spoiled kid with zero self-control. People weren't dragging the worker, they were dragging T.I. for letting his son act like this. So when T.I. later made that fatherly video warning King about crashing out, Tiny was furious. In her eyes, all that wisdom should have been shown years earlier. Not after King had already embarrassed the family over and over. For a minute, things cooled down. But T.I.'s disappointment in King didn't stay quiet for long. It finally exploded in public during that Atlanta Falcons game where T.I. and King got into a heated argument that turned physical right in the stands. And what started the whole blow-up? King kept insisting he didn't grow up privileged, right in front of the man who raised him. That set T.I. off instantly. He stepped in and checked his son right there, reminding him he was literally born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But King wasn't backing down. And before anyone could blink, he squared up and started swinging on his own father in the middle of the crowd. The clip went viral in seconds, and it was ugly. T.I. looked ready to forget this was his own kid and handle him like a grown man. The internet exploded. Thousands of likes and comments poured in within hours. Shockingly, a lot of people sided with T.I., saying it was long overdue. Comments like, he should have disciplined him years ago, and if you don't check the problem, it'll check you, we're everywhere. Others wrote, King's out of control? Pray for that family. But while social media cheered T.I. on, Tiny was furious. She hated that T.I. embarrassed their son like that in public. No matter how reckless King had been, and her anger only grew later at home. That's when she found out T.I. had kicked King out of the house completely, forcing him to figure out life on his own. To Tiny, that was the line. She felt T.I. had finally gone too far, and that moment carved a deeper crack in their marriage, the same crack that eventually pushed her to walk away for good. Then came another bomb Tiny dropped in the divorce filings. T.I.'s constant cheating and violent past. For years, she stood by while he stepped out on their marriage, listening to the same empty promises about changing. But the lies stacked up higher every year. And by the time King spiraled into chaos, Tiny wasn't just angry at her son, she was staring at T.I., realizing he was the blueprint for everything King had become. That was the breaking point. Tiny finally cut T.I. off when it hit her that King wasn't carving his own path at all. He was copying his father's exact blueprint. The same jail stints that once gave T.I. his tough guy image were now the ones King was chasing for himself. So when T.I. disowned King after that messy arrest, Tiny snapped to her, he wasn't just turning his back on their son, he was rejecting the mirror image of himself. That's why those divorce papers landed on the table without hesitation. And the wildest part? You can tell exactly how desperate King is for his father's approval by how hard he leans into that street persona. Flashing guns, talking reckless, trying to prove he's about that life after the arrest footage leaked. People even claimed King wanted the whole thing to happen, like he walked himself into jail time just to score street cred and finally be seen as a real one in his father's eyes. The internet was ruthless. Some said King finally got the tough image he'd been begging for. Others said he was just a privileged kid acting out for scraps of attention from his dad. And honestly, they might have been right. Because King's behavior didn't happen in a vacuum. Look back at the moment T.I. and Boozy had to check their sons on camera. The patterns were impossible to ignore. King and Boozy's son, Tootie Raw, linked up to shoot a music video. But instead of focusing on the music, they were flexing guns like they were running a trap house. You could hear the disappointment in T.I.'s voice when he confronted King, pressing him about why he was so obsessed with looking tough instead of actually enjoying himself. Especially when there were women around. It was a father trying to talk sense into a son who didn't want to hear it, and a son trying to prove something his father never asked for. It quickly shifted from a warning to a full-on lecture. T.I. laid it out plain. One wrong move with those guns, one stupid slip-up, and their entire lives could be ruined in seconds. Both he and Boozy weren't joking around. You could see it in their faces. They were dead serious. On the surface, it looked like T.I. was trying his hardest to pull King back from a road that only ends one way: jail time. But when Tiny heard about it, she wasn't celebrating T.I.'s sudden father figure moment. She was furious. Not because she agreed with King's reckless behavior, but because she felt T.I. was about 10 years too late. In her eyes, King wasn't inventing this tough guy persona. He was copying what he'd already watched his father do for years. And Tiny's frustration exploded even more when the next bomb hit. King's baby mama drama. The final straw? T.I. casually went on a podcast and announced he was about to become a grandfather again. Because King had another baby on the way, Tiny couldn't believe it. To her, it didn't sound like concern or guidance. It sounded like T.I. was low-key bragging, almost endorsing King's reckless behavior, turning what should have been a wake-up call into some twisted badge of honor. Then things got even stranger. Rumors started circulating about King's baby mama, Big Nana. Whispers claimed she was much older than him, and some even suggested she only got with him to secure a bag while he was too young and reckless to see it. But King? He didn't care one bit. He was hyped about fatherhood like it was the best thing that ever happened to him. And when their son was born in November 2024, King was over the moon. He leaned into being a dad full force, posting nonstop, bragging about his baby boy, showing off a soft side nobody thought he had for a second. It looked like King might finally be turning his life around. King even dropped a track titled Dear Son, where he rapped about stepping up as a father. He captioned the post with raw details. November 5th, 8:09 a.m. Welcome King Jr., time to take over. For a moment, it really looked like King was ready to change. Like fatherhood finally slowed him down and gave him a real purpose. Tiny loved seeing it. To her, the best part was watching King do what T.I. never did for him. Be present, hands-on, and proud of his child from day one. It felt like maybe the cycle was finally breaking. That King was learning from T.Y.'s mistakes instead of repeating them. But that hope didn't last long, because while King was online glowing about being a proud dad, his messy arrest footage was spreading like wildfire across social media. Every repost was a harsh reminder that no matter how sweet he looked holding his newborn, he was still knee-deep in legal trouble and public scandal. Through all of this, T.I. tried to play the role of the supportive father. But no matter how hard he tried, you could see the truth slipping through the cracks. The disappointment in his eyes was impossible to hide, and for Tiny, that was unforgivable. She could stomach the cheating. She could stomach the violence. She even survived the years of public humiliation. But when T.I. became so ashamed of his own son that he refused to live under the same roof with him, that's what finally shattered her heart. By the time those divorce papers landed, nobody close to them was surprised. It was the final blow in a marriage that had been cracking for years. A love story collapsing under the weight of betrayal, disappointment, and a son spiraling out of control. Tiny is done. No more excuses, no more covering up. She's standing on her truth and walking away from the man she once built an empire with. Now the spotlight shifts back to T.I. What happens next? Will he finally speak up? Or will he stay silent the same way he has with King, letting his family crumble right in front of the world? Because right now, the Harris Empire looks finished, and the scars from this fallout might never heal. What do you think? Did T.I. fail as a father and a husband? Or did King's reckless choices doom the family from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share it, and I'll catch you in the next video.